So let's have a teaching moment real quickly. This morning I came off hot as can be, hot off the presses, largely because I really am hot off the presses, and I'm very, very angry at the situation we're in. Most of that is completely preventable. Most of it is fueled in ignorance and partisan rancor, things that I have no tolerance for. Identity politics, tribalism, ignorance. You know, when we as a nation, when we as a people decide it's more important to be a part of a group than to be telling the truth, we've forsaken everything. There's literally nothing left for us. And I'm not going to fight fake wars with you. No matter what side you're on, I'm not going to fight a fake war with you. I'm not going to go protest randomly about stupid things that don't really have any value. I'm not going to create fake situations so that we can all stay angry, because there's enough real ones out there without having to even bring in partisanship to make them valid, make them actionable, and make them worth wasting time away from your family for. At the end of the day, we have a finite amount of hours in the day to get angry, and a finite amount of hours to actually do something useful with that. And so each time we do something, you have to ask yourself, what is the opportunity cost? What am I missing out on here by doing this behavior, this action? And quite frankly, we spend an inordinate amount of time most of us don't have, wasting it, talking about things that are absolutely ridiculous. So as we're talking and we're thinking about what it is that is coming up here shortly, you know, the things that we're going to be facing. You know, one of Trump's plans is to provide, and this is a plan that I actually advocate for in a different way. The problem is he's advocating for it through block grants to the states. Now, what he's talking about doing is eliminating certain programs and just providing the states grants and letting them do with them what they want to do. And that right there is completely FUBAR, and that it really ends up setting the stage for violating the 14th Amendment. But in my opinion, block grants are not a bad thing if you build in certain escalators. If you sit there and you set the stage, you set the bare minimum, the bar for the states to adhere to. When you provide block grants, you can eliminate unfunded mandates. And unfunded mandates are why non-sovereign states go bankrupt. You think about states like, Michigan, that have Flint. You think about states like Pennsylvania that have Harrisburg. These areas go bankrupt with unfunded mandates. They go broke with a lot of shenanigans too. But a lot of these mandates are unfunded. There's no reason the federal government cannot fully fund all the state's functions. There's no reason whatsoever. It would prevent the things that, like Rick Perry was doing, poaching businesses from other states by playing tax games. It would prevent a whole lot of dumb stuff that creates rust belts where people are no longer employed and they're trapped. So there's a lot of reasons why you should consider the possibilities of federally funding the state's budgets and providing them with the blueprint or the roadmap for what they would need to do. Leave it to the 10th Amendment to allow them to execute said plans, as long as they don't violate the 14th Amendment. You see, we can talk Republican logic, we can talk Constitution. I got it. Let Jesse rob this train. So as I'm sitting there getting angry earlier, you know, I was ranting and raving. Someone came in the inbox and said, "Steve, you're too valuable to give way to anger. And don't allow yourself to become yet another rageaholic." And you don't have to worry about that. But for those of you out there who do worry about that, let me tell you something. My righteous anger, and it is righteous, is founded in understanding exactly what it is we're up against. I'm not in the feel-good moment here, folks. I don't care about the feels at all. If it truly is the last thing on my mind. I'm a tactician, I'm a strategist, I look at what needs to be done and I execute. If that bothers people, I understand we're all not wired the same way. But I see the problem, I don't sit there and get caught up in a bunch of emotional stuff. I just zero in and I attack. And that's the way we've got to do some of these things. If you guys want to put a nicer spin on it, when you take this message and go forward, knock yourselves out, folks. I've got limited time and limited patience, but a lot of stuff in my head that needs to come out because I feel like it could change the world. Am I special? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I do understand what I'm talking about. And so I feel it would be a complete abdication of all that is right in this world for me to keep my mouth shut. That's my take. The minute somebody doesn't think it's important, they can stop following me. I won't be offended at all. But I do believe what I'm saying is right. I do believe what I'm saying is spot on. I've done the research. I provide links. I back my stuff up. I can speak to it at any level you decide you need me to speak to it at. We need to be able to affect policy. We need to be able to affect the Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats are going to be harder to crack because they have got this entrenched belief that they're the saviors of the planet. The Republicans, they're just desperate. Not their leadership. Forget their leadership. I'm talking about the rank and file. I'm talking about the working class white people that are getting smacked around by the media, that are getting treated like they're just a bunch of racist bigots and so forth. And that right there, before you ever talk economics, you've now built a wall that you can't overcome. You've built a wall that you can't overcome, and that's why I'm angry. You start red baiting. Now, when I start talking economics, I'm not talking socialism. Do you realize that if I can flip my entire economic speech, I can do as a Republican? Watch this. I'm going to do a Republican economic speech so you understand how easy this is. Folks, we can fully fund our military. We can absolutely send full-blown troops all the way into every single state, every single agitator state throughout the world without any problem. We can absolutely beef up our nuclear arsenal with no problem at all. There's no funding limitations whatsoever. We absolutely can train our military to do all kinds of stealth. We can invest in all kinds of espionage technology without any problem at all. We can invest in anything you want. We can build multiple planes that have bomber capabilities. We can invest in a space station that we can rain nukes from above. We can invest in any of these things that we want to. We can invest in gold-plated buildings to show our awesomeness. At the end of the day, folks, this whole MMT thing that I talk about is not partisan at all. Where it becomes partisan is when we talk about what our priorities are. That's why when I tell you guys to stop talking about cutting spending, I mean it. Folks, we got to learn how to spend the right way. This is Steve with Real Progressives. Have a wonderful day.